Welcome to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boomer Bust channel, Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry, and this is our week 1 recap, versus the Packers. So, this is the game that, Sunday night that the NFL, that football fans wanted to see. This is the Packers Bears that people remember, not, the Bears getting destroyed by the Packers. Unfortunately, didn't go our way as Bears fans. Of course, the game we want to see is a 60-0 blowout, but doesn't always go that way. So let's just kind of talk about the game as a whole. I mean, it was a tale of two halves, and this is why, as coaches and people say it's cliche, you got to play 4 quarters. It doesn't matter how great your first quarter is or your first half. You have to play the complete game because you never know what can happen. And the Bears came out hot. We really had a lot of momentum and energy going. And then, of course, the injury with Aaron Rodgers happened. And it really just seemed like everything was pointing up. Then Aaron Rodgers came back in the second half. And the Green Bay Packers did what well-coached teams do. They fight through. They fight back. And the Bears kind of looked like a team that wasn't used to putting the game away. And that's something you got to learn. That's something that's more than stats, something that's just more than anything people can quantify is, team chemistry and team maturity. You got a first-time head coach. You got a new roster on the offensive side. You got some new pieces on the defensive side. We just got to get there. But to say we were bad is, ridiculous. We definitely came out and showed a lot of good things. So, it was tough. I mean, one thing, and I tried to be active on Twitter. I told you I'm not a Twitter person, but I tried to be active on Twitter, and I'll try to do that this year. And one of the things I was tweeting earlier is that the Bears can't keep settling for field goals because that ends up being the difference between a win and a loss when you have these type of games. And that's exactly what this game turned into. You probably seen it. I've seen it many times where you see these games where someone goes up and they keep moving the ball, but they don't put it in the end zone. They kick field goals and you're like, oh, well, they're up 23-0. It don't matter. They keep adding on. It does matter. It does, especially when you're talking about an explosive offense. When you play an explosive offense, your offense has to put in the points on the board. You got to go in the end zone because you know that they can score a lot faster than you can. And that's what happened. Even, with the injury, when Aaron Rodgers came back, you had to expect that. And so Aaron Rodgers came back and lit it on fire. I mean, you had the two guys with big money going at it. And it's understandable, man. It's understandable. Tough loss, but that's kind of a wrap up in the overview. But let's break it down. So offense, like I said, I'll grade each unit. Offense, I give them a solid B. I give them a B as in boy, as in Bears. Because, so what I also would say is that Matt Nagy definitely does some cute stuff, but I think he did it in moderation where, and I've been saying this, when you get cute with the formations and the shifts and the motions, early on, that's perfectly fine. You get to see how the defense reacts. But when it comes down to crunch time, that stuff won't matter. That stuff won't win you the game. And as we saw, it comes down to being in the pocket, making plays, making throws, and receivers making catches. Blocking your assignments, being able to run the ball, dictate the clock, all those different things. Picking up first downs, you have to sit there and play football. All the formations and the motions and exotic looks, that won't save you when it comes down to crunch time. And so while the offense did some cute stuff early on, I thought we still looked good pretty consistently throughout as far as moving the ball. And if I had more time to sit down, I would have liked to bring the stats up because, as I mentioned prior, I'm looking at time of possession. I'm looking at red zone attempts, and it was another one I can't remember right now. And I would like to compare it to the average, and I might do that going forward throughout the year. But you could tell by the eye test that the offense looked a lot more explosive. I wouldn't say clean because there's 2 timeouts that we burned in the first half because we couldn't get our formations together and to play together. But that comes with a lot of different looks and you just new to it. And so that time management piece was there, but I still think we looked explosive where we could make plays and put people in position. What I noticed out of Nagy, he does a lot of 20 personnel, which is one of my favorite personnel groupings. That's 2 running backs, no tight ends. Or if you split the tight end like a receiver, it's pretty much the same thing. It's basically 3 receivers and 2 backs. And so what Nagy does, and I could tell he likes, is he doesn't like to tip his hand where he can go multiple ways. So with a lot of 2-back stuff, you don't know if you're going left or right, and then you skip motion where the 2 backs are stacked on top of each other, kind of like a I formation, but in shotgun. And even still, you can run the zone or opposite the back. And so you can do a lot of stuff out of that. My offensive playbook personally is all 20 personnel, or one of my playbooks. So therefore, I recognize the advantage you get as far as not tipping the defense on which side you're going to. So he likes to do a lot of that. And he likes to put different people in the backfield, whether it's Cohen and Howard, whether it's Howard and Burden, Cohen and Burden, or whoever. Sometimes Taylor Gabriel was there. So the thing I did notice is that he really used everybody. He kind of put the offense in a spot where everybody could get a little go. So I was wondering with with Allen Robinson, what his role would be. And cause we didn't see him in the preseason. And after this game, I think it'd be safe to say he's going to be like Alshon Jeffrey, like Brandon Marshall, where he can get those 50-50 passes, and not necessarily where we're feeding him the ball. He's the feature guy. But we can put the ball up when we need a tough catch or, need to move some yard. So, Trubisky definitely seems to like him, but I don't think he fell in love with one target, which is good, especially in the first week. I don't think you want teams to see you falling in love with one target, so he definitely spread the ball around. Offensive line wise, it's kind of what I said. When we had the short yardage situations, Cody Whitehair got whooped and we ended up losing yards, but Cody Whitehair and Eric Kush, and really the whole O-line besides Kyle Long, were not people movers. And I said this before, on the move and type of zone stuff, or on the second level in the screen or anything, we can move and pin people when everything is moving and, set up a lane, which is just as good. But when you're talking about head to head, big on big blocking, we're not that type of line. And it really showed tonight where you had guys like Mike Daniels and Kenny Clark that really gave some issues. But in pass pro, I thought we did fine. We gave Trubisky plenty of time. And again, Bobby Massey and Leno aren't going to wow you, but they definitely held up pretty average, and, gave us some time. They weren't liabilities tonight. So the offense, yeah, you just got to put it in the end zone. That's the tough thing. Moving the ball is one phase, but then putting it in the end zone consistently, that's another phase. And I know they showed that stat that we were ranked really high in red zone percentage last year. First of all, different regime. But second of all, that's fine. But you looked at how many times we actually were in the red zone. So you gotta, be careful with numbers. So the offense, I give a B. I mean, we put up, I know the defense put up one touchdown, so it wasn't all our points, but we put up a decent amount of points, but really more so is just moving the ball and showing the ability to do multiple things kind of excited me. So if you're talking about holding Aaron Rodgers down, that offensive performance, and you look around the league at some of these people that really couldn't score at all, I can't really knock the Bears for our offensive performance. Defensively, now that's tough. Like I said, tell the two halves right there. I would honestly, oh man, that's tough. I have to say a C+. Because in the second half, it wasn't just Aaron Rodgers throwing. We got ran up the middle way too much. I'm not sure what was going on with that, but we were pretty solid the first quarter or the first half, but in the second half, and that, those 5-6 yards hurt because that sets you up where, you trying to play the sticks and then Aaron Rodgers goes long on you. And, you know, he also can take chances when it's a shorter, you know, 2nd and 5 or whatever. And so that stuff hurts. You know, their rushing totals won't be crazy, but in the second half, I felt like we kind of got a little too, either we got gassed or we got a little too happy with our production. Now, Khalil Mack, yes, okay, absolute monster. Yes, I was going nuts too. I get it. But he did show signs of fatigue. And yeah, I had some people that try to argue before the game talking about, oh man, he'll be fine. He's a top athlete. That's fine, but football shape is real. We don't say that just to say that. If you haven't been playing football, it's a different thing. And so Khalil Mack towards the end, where you could see in the first half, he hit the edge. In the second half, as he got more tired, he just hit the man. And when you take on the whole man, as we say in defense, it's a lot harder to beat him than taking on half the man. So when you attack the outside shoulder and you play on the edge, it's a lot easier to beat people and you become a lot more of a threat. But when you go right into the tackle and you trying to take on the whole player, it's a lot harder. And as he got tired, I saw that's what he started to do more and more. Opposite him, Leonard Floyd in his club, he is not, or the arm, whatever you want to call it. I think it's called a club. He's not effective as a pass rusher with that. I'm sorry. Yes, he's quick, but you could tell the difference was watching Mack attack somebody's hands and use his hands versus Leonard Floyd. And it's just because of the club. He literally can't use his hand. And so as a pass rusher, I felt like he did not bring anything in the first or the second half. So that's something we're going to have to contend with. Kwiatkowski, man, pass coverage. That's what it is. Like, yes, these guys are solid. Timu, Kwiatkowski, all those guys were solid. But when it comes to the NFL and regular season, that coverage matters, and they going to get exposed. They continue to, like, Trevathan even can get exposed. He's definitely way better than Kwiatkowski, but he can even get exposed. So you know Kwiatkowski going to get exposed. And so that's something you got to think about. I was shocked that Roquan wasn't at least being brought in as a sub linebacker on third down. At least that. I mean, if you didn't want to start him, fine. So that was shocking to me because I told you when I'm looking at my key defensive players, it's Roquan Smith that has to elevate our coverage ability on third down. That's going to be his biggest contribution. And so Roquan did get in when Trevathan went down, and his first play, he got a sack. It was a cleanup sack. It was pretty much Mack that set it up, but you saw kind of the hustle and the speed and all that. So, but Roquan, sadly, you know, well, not sadly, I should say, but he didn't really play a whole bunch, but, we did get a little preview of him. And I think he was in 2 plays and they blitzed him both of those plays. So he almost got sacked the second time too, but yeah. So unfortunately the damage we did, on the stat sheet was against Deshaun Kaiser. I mean, we were hanging with Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying we weren't, the first half, but most of it was against Deshaun Kaiser. And then when Aaron came back, different story. The secondary, I mean, the corners, what can you say? And even when Kyle Fuller, who almost had an interception, again, just like the preseason, the receiver fell and the ball came right to him. This time he didn't make the play, and I know the Green Bay especially has quick receivers, but in the NFL, the speed, man, Kyle Fuller and Prince, to an extent, Prince is faster, but Kyle Fuller cannot stay with these receivers. He is perpetually in trail coverage, which can work most of the time, but there's going to be times when they expose it, and that's what always scares me. Even when Rodgers or Kaiser missed the guy, it's like, look how much separation they had. And when you in trail coverage, and some coaches like to play that, you pretty much saying, I'm trying to just be in position because I'm betting on somebody not throwing it, you know, accurately. They're going to underthrow it and I can undercut it, make the play, or they're going to throw it too high and I can go up with the receiver and make a play, or they're going to overthrow it and miss, whatever. That's trail coverage, and that's a gamble. That's a huge gamble. And while he didn't get torched or nothing tonight, I just see what's to come, and it's tough. Prince, same thing. I mean, he's limited. And then as soon as we start getting, like, when Aaron started connecting and hitting those long passes, what did we do? We backed our corners off. And what was the first thing they did? They started running underneath hitches and curls. And it's just like, it's football 101. When you have bad corners, you can when you have corners that are their skills lean one way, you can dictate the terms once you start being effective. So starting out the gate, yeah, they're going to play up, they're going to play tough, and there's not much you can do about that man coverage. But once you connect, then the defense starts getting scared. Now the safety start playing back, and then you able to carve them up underneath. And Aaron Rodgers, too much of a veteran, he's going to take what you give him. So that was tough, but I like the play of Eddie Jackson a whole lot. And I get it. Some of y'all was with Eddie Jackson last year. I don't care what you say. He didn't look the same like this he did today last year. Cause this year, or this game, I should say, he was filling the alley well. He was active in the run game. He seemed more confident, at least in the first half. He seemed more confident, and he seemed a lot more active coming down and making plays and making tackles and really fitting into the run fit. So I absolutely think that's a great sign, because we know he's athletic. We know he can make a play on the ball, but seeing him fit in the run game was really good. And Adrian Amos as well, he gives you that too. So that was good. Now, the Randall Cobb thing, look, that's the benefit of chemistry. That's the benefit of being together. And that's something, that a rapport that was built where it's an adjustment, because Eddie Jackson jumped the route and he had it knocked off, but Aaron Rodgers extends the play. And when he does that, the receivers know how to get to the open spot, and B, Aaron Rodgers is smart enough to get the ball to them. And so that's tough to beat. I mean, the toughest thing that Aaron Rodgers has showed us, the toughest thing to beat is when you don't get the quarterback down and the play gets extended. Cause, as great as athletes the secondary are, they only built to hold up coverage for so many seconds. And then after that, it becomes a free fall and people get wide open. And that's kind of what you saw. And Eddie even made his best, attempt to make a play on that pass when he saw at the last second that Randall Cobb had broke away. But by then it was too late. And the opposite end, where you saw Kevin King, it was on our last drive, Kevin King was like 5 steps ahead of Allen Robinson, and Trubisky, instead of throwing it back shoulder fade and adjusting it, he just tried to throw it down and almost got picked off. So, and I was sitting there thinking, like, man, like, when the corner has that much of a step on you, that needs to be an adjustment right there to a back shoulder fade. But they don't have that chemistry. We don't have the benefit of that chemistry. And so that's what you see. And it just takes time. We can't force that. It can't just come out of nowhere. It takes time. I mean, ask anybody in any situation to kind of like predict what another person is thinking. You know how hard that sounds, let alone doing it at the speed that they're playing in a football game. So there's that. So C+, man, yeah, that second half, it was tough. And it was tough. Again, Khalil Mack kind of got tired. And Aaron Lynch, I forgot his number. I was like, who is 99? And cause we didn't see him on preseason. I'm like, oh yeah, Aaron Lynch, he didn't show any good hands at all. Like, he was, bear hugging people too. It just, the rush wasn't as good without some type of stunt. Whenever we tried to straight rush, it wasn't as good. We let too much up the middle in the run game. And then, of course, in the pass game, Aaron Rodgers got busy. So it was tough. Special teams, I mean, Cody Parker actually made his kicks. And Tariq Cohen was decent. Special teams didn't do nothing offensive. I give them a B-. I mean, they didn't do nothing too crazy. They didn't do nothing too bad. The reason I can be minus though, Pat O'Donnell. Love Pat O'Donnell. I know a lot of casual fans don't like talk about field position, but that is so huge. To have a punter that can flip the field like that, I think he put us in great positions a lot of times. But yeah, special teams kind of run of the mill. So yeah, that's in a nutshell. When we're talking about going forward, and I'm a Bears fan. I want to see us win. Like I said, I'm just here giving my opinion. So this really isn't me just trying to pat myself on the back. I'm just saying I personally, and you can see it differently, and you can tell me you see it differently, but I personally saw all the issues that I saw during the offseason and preseason. And they still are kind of there. And so those are the kind of things I'm looking at us to improve on as we go. When we're talking about what are we going to do to help our corners out in that situation. I mean, yes, it's Aaron Rodgers, so you can write it off as, hey, we won't face Aaron Rodgers every week. But it's not about every week. It's about the contending times when we going up against times that matter. And if we, maybe get to the playoffs, that's the stuff I look at. I'm always looking at the ultimate goal, not just, next week. So that's the question I got. Roquan, I love Kwiatkowski, but Roquan needs to at least be the third down linebacker. So there's that question there with our liability from the linebacker standpoint. And then Leonard Floyd, if he can't get it done with that club on his hand, can we, possibly look at bringing in somebody else to get it done with him? And because Khalil Mack is going to take some time to get in football shape. It's just the reality of what it is. And so as great as he has been, and he has been every bit of the impact like we thought he would be, even when Aaron Rodgers was in there, he's still one man and he still has to get in that shape. So what can we do as far as using more rotation on our outside linebacker core, not just our D-line core? So there's that. And then offensively, Trubisky, man, it's hard without the all 22. I'm not going to sit here and tell you definitively. If anybody tells you definitively, they don't know what they're talking about. We can't see the coverage and everything, so I can't say. All I can say is either our receivers weren't getting open or Trubisky wasn't seeing the field. And I know for a fact there's a few times where they showed the end zone angle so I could see the routes, and I see Trubisky miss some people that he could have went after, and instead he just kept running it. So it looked not exactly like last year, but there's times where it looked like last year. And with all this receiving talent we brought in, I would hope that it's not our receivers aren't getting open. And it's no win because it's either that or it's Trubisky not seeing the field. But I think he's accurate, man. He's definitely accurate, when he knows where he wants to put the ball. It's just, is he making the right decision? Those two different things. So he can put the ball where he want to put it. It's just if he makes the right decision where to go. And then I will say a whole bunch more Tariq Cohen than I expected. So that'll be interesting. And Jordan Howard showed good catching ability. I know some people argue with me before, and when people say he can't catch as hyperbole, not that he physically can't catch, it's that he's not good at it. And so that's not what he's known for. And he showed definitely a lot more ability tonight. So that was also something that I recognize and I really like. So overall, I like it. I think it had more to do with managing the emotions of the game. Trust me, as a coach, I know, especially opening week, like you've been at it all summer and you just want to get out there and you got all these questions and you just want to feel vindicated right now. You want to prove everybody wrong. And so you ride that emotion so high with all those plays from Mac and how well it was going. And then you kind of get in a point where you're not executing and attacking the way you should be. And that comes with a younger team. So, as a team, we just got to do a better job of managing our emotions through the game. I think it was more so that than bad execution. We can always execute better, but I think it was just more of, keeping our focus. And Aaron Rodgers came in and sucked the life out of our team like he does before. He came in and he gave all the momentum back to Green Bay, and we just got to fight through it. We had plenty of chances to win. We just got to fight through it. All right, so that's it for me. Go to the comment section. Let me know what you thought about the game. Thumbs up, subscribe, share it around, get the convo started. Remember, stay up and bear down.